Hello again, Cancer. This is your mid-monthly reading for March 2017. We're going to be looking at the last 2 weeks of March for Cancer. And before we begin your reading, I have two cards here for you. And, I'm kind of conflicted about what you're pulling here. Because between thirst and self-worth, it could be that what you're thirsting for, you need to be careful that it's worthy of you. But then you could also be craving some self-love and some self-worth right now. So from Le Vampire, you pulled thirst, craving, compulsion, and obsession. The blessing here says that the thirst will lead you to know more about yourself and how far you go to quest for something you want. You could encounter a way through to self-knowledge, but consider too that what you thirst for you may never find. And then working with this card says that it is possible to reclaim your life force and your will. Your desire is driving you. Be sure of where it is taking you and whether it is increasing your ability to live fully alive or whether it is dragging you into a seductive soul sleep from which you may struggle to awake. It's time to be open and honest with yourself about what has power over you. Now, with self-worth from Chakra Wisdom, I feel like there's two ways to look at this. You could be compulsively chasing something that isn't worthy of you, but with self-worth, I feel like what you're doing here is going after something that is worthy of you, basically. So the inspiration here says that people, events, and material objects beyond your frame of reference are being drawn to you, which is where thirst comes in. When you're craving something, you're attracting that into your life. And then it says, aim higher, for you will draw even greater experiences into your life. Allow your energy to grow. Receiving is an action. And then the key ideas are greater knowledge, innocent curiosity, being rewarded, and receiving divine love. And it's also about faith, self-love, and value. So, there could be this feeling here where you're wanting to experience something and you're setting an intention and it's like being attracted to you, but it's like you're aiming higher here on what you choose to experience. And then the other thing too is that you need to be careful that what you're craving after is worthy of you. And I feel like if you're craving something right now, it may have to do with needing that feeling of self-love. All right, Cancer, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. So the King of Swords. Now, immediately when I see this, I always warn people, this being the signifier, you need to be careful about acting like the King of Swords, especially for Cancer. Because the King of Swords he's very ethical, which, is perfect with what you're pulling in the Oracle cards, but the problem is that the King of Swords can come off emotionally detached. And that's not a very good description of Cancer. Now, this could definitely be an air sign coming through. The King of Swords and the Page of Swords, those two for me, there better be some fantastic cards surrounding him for me to see him in a positive light. Now, as far as this representing you and your energy right now, again, you need to be careful about acting like the King of Swords. When he passes his judgment, he can do it harshly. And you don't want to... when it comes to what you're trying to attract in your life and what you're craving right now, you definitely want to have that ethical behavior, but then at the same time, it's like, you don't want to totally push off your emotions. Again, for Cancer, that's just, it's no good. Oh, wow, look at it. The past coming through, the Emperor. This is you getting control of the situations that are going on around you. So seeing that as the past coming through is telling me that, whatever issues you may have dealt with, you definitely got control over it, but there's this harsh feeling between the Emperor and the King of Swords. You've got to be careful here about how you communicate with those in your life, and when it comes to craving some self-love and some self-worth, definitely pulling these two is great, but I'm feeling like this lack of emotional fulfillment. And in the present, wow. So yeah, I feel like just looking at what you're pulling here and seeing strength in the present is telling me that, no matter what is going on in your life, you have the inner strength to deal with it. And with Aries and the Emperor being on top of you, absolutely. Absolutely. The Emperor comes in after the Empress and gets control over all the things that she's manifested, right? Because she's just enjoying it and things are just manifesting in front of her. And he's like, all right, now we're going to get control of the shit, right? And you're carrying that feeling and strength. I mean, look at them. Those are heavy hitters. But still, I can't help but worry seeing that King of Swords there. I mean, it's great having that moral compass is what I feel like. That ethical behavior, being fair, being just, having that logical mind working for you, but just be careful is what I feel like, Oh, wow, Cancer, wow. Shit. The Hierophant, or the High Priest, seeing that as future conditions is telling me that you're going to get a better understanding of your situation. So, the Hierophant or the High Priest has to do with a higher education, doing things in the traditional way, orthodox beliefs. But what happens is because he's tied with the fives in tarot, fives are always like, the shitty shit that happens to us. And, usually what happens is we're like, well, why are things not working out? And we're seeking an understanding. And that's where the High Priest comes in. You're looking for, that guidance, that understanding, and seeing that in the Emperor, it's like, there could be, and seeing the King of Swords, like a mentor coming through. But I feel like with the High Priest sitting in future conditions that you're learning a lesson here, and again, with what you're pulling in the Oracle cards, it's perfect to see, a better understanding of your situation. Because there was definitely a need for you to get control over what was going on with the Emperor showing up, absolutely. You still having strength in the present moment is saying that no matter what happens, not only do you have the inner strength, but you're being smart. You're thinking clearly, communicating clearly, and using the logical mind. But where are the emotions here? That's where I worry, like, there's nothing bad here, but there's a part of me going, wait a minute, where are the emotions? And I'm looking at thirst and I'm going, like, what is it that you're craving here? Because it's like you're pulling these heavy, heavy hitters. You've got your shit together. You have super strength. You have a higher understanding. And you're being this logical, critical thinker. But, where is the desire here? Water signs, immediately, it's, emotions. What are you desiring? What are those emotions behind that? And they're like, not here. But why? Your best path to follow, the Page of Wands. Now, I like seeing this. This isn't water, but pulling a little bit of fire is good. It's good. So seeing the Page of Wands is your best path to follow. And again, going back to what you pulled in the Oracle cards, aiming higher. The Page of Wands, immediately when I see this, I think of somebody going after something that they may not have a lot of knowledge regarding, but I feel like with your future conditions, you're going to get that knowledge. This is about going after your passions. But with the Page, it's, regardless of lack in life experience, you have the passion to do this. And so immediately I feel like you're going after something that's bigger than you. And there may be a part of you that feels like, not that you're not worthy of it, but like, again, like you don't have, enough understanding of what you're going after, but having the passion to do it is enough here. So you're definitely following your passions. There's something new coming through for sure. And I feel like, with future conditions being the High Priest, you're definitely going to have what you need. But you're going after something big here. Strength is saying that you can do it. The Emperor, again, you've got your shit together here. And with thirst and self-worth. What you're going after here, you're definitely aiming higher. But you're wanting something for sure. And there's passion and fire and drive here. But, again, with self-worth, it's like you're attracting these things into your life, but you want to make sure that they're worthy of you. In your environment, wow, and the High Priest talks about groups of people coming together. Love. Oh, shit. I feel like, this could definitely be, being that it's in your environment, this could be an earth sign coming through. But when you see two kings like that and seeing the Emperor and then the High Priest, to me, it's like success. Successful endeavors with groups of people. The King of Pentacles, now, if you're looking at that in terms of how you're feeling, this is King Midas. Everything he touches is going to turn to gold. This is success. Being open to giving and receiving, but to me, it's like financial success. But I definitely feel like you're going to be working with a group of people here. And again, with the Page of Wands, it's like you're not really, it's like you don't really have like the full understanding of what you're doing. But again, with the High Priest there, yeah, you will. You will. Man, oh man, Cancer. You're doing something on a much different level, and this is big. This is really big. And again, I feel like, these are people that are working with you. But looking at it, success, learning something new, mentors, teachers. Wow. Okay, so your hopes and your fears. Look at the majors. Man, Cancer. Yeah, I gotta have some wine. So seeing the moon in your hopes and your fears to me is saying that you're gonna have to start tapping into your intuition here. And here's where the emotion starts to come into play. Because the moon, being the card of Pisces. Now, for me, it's saying that, you may have immediately I feel confusion seeing the moon, and again, with thirst, it's like, where are your desires leading you here? But this also talks about needing to pay attention to that intuitive voice. And tapping into the subconscious mind, paying attention to your dreams and the gut feelings that you have regarding what, you're passionately going after here. You have support, not only from other people, but divine support between these two, absolutely. And it makes sense having the moon in your hopes and your fears. It's like you don't want to be led astray by your desires and what you're craving or what you're thirsting right now. But, to me, even though that's a major sitting there in your hopes and your fears, I don't see it as a bad thing. I just think that, with all this powerful earth grounding stuff going on, that, when it comes to your emotions, it's like, I almost feel like you need to remember the fact that you are an emotionally intuitive being. Cancer is no different than the other water signs. You have that emotionally intuitive nature as well. And I feel like, that's what you're going to need to tap into when it comes to what you're doing here. And again, I feel like there's these mentors surrounding you right now, and you're being this critical, logical thinker and following your passions, but, there may be some confusion. I mean, just between these two, again, feeling like you're going after something bigger than yourself, not wanting to be led astray by your desires. I would say pay attention to your intuition, because to me, these are opposing. When you look at, especially with the Emperor coming through, when you look at the High Priest, to me, it's like, it is about spiritual awareness, but I don't know. He seems more Because of doing things in the traditional sense, you know, to me, that does not include tapping into the intuition. You know, logic. It's all logic. You know what I mean? And the moon is saying, you know, you got to tap into that part too. And the outcome, the Two of Pentacles, needing to make a decision here. You know, the twos, it's the possibilities, where all the possibilities lie. But seeing the Two of Pentacles too, it's like, what happens is that you're constantly in this balancing act, right? Like you're flexible, you're agile, you can deal with all the things that, you know, you have going on in your day-to-day life. But the thing is if you're forever in that balancing act, when do you get to that point where you just throw your hands up in the air and say, fuck it, you know? To me, this is needing to find some balance. And I feel like, yeah, you know, needing to find some emotional balance out of all of this, like, really intense, powerful stuff that's going on, you know? And again, you got to be careful about acting like the King of Swords, you know? You don't want to totally throw your emotions off to the side here and just be a straightforward critical thinker. You know, that's not what your true nature is. You know, there may be some situations going on in your life where, you know, you felt like you needed to get control, you needed to get your house in order, right? But I don't know, there's this harsh feeling between all of this, you know. I mean, overall, it's not a bad reading at all, Cancer. It's powerful. It's definitely powerful, but there's a part to it that I can't help but feel like something's missing. Definitely something's missing. Needing to tap into your intuitive nature, you know, going after your passions and not being led astray by, you know, your own desires, which is where thirst is coming in. And then self-worth, you know, aiming higher, which definitely you're doing, a higher understanding, right? You're following your passions and it's bigger than you, but you're going to get an understanding here. And I still feel like you have people surrounding you that are like guiding you to this place of understanding. But, you know, again, it's like there's this act going on, this, like, you know, juggling act between the logical and the emotional, you know. Cancer, though, I see going through that more than the other water signs. Pisces just runs away from shit when things become too difficult. And they go into, you know, fantasy realm. That's how they cope when reality becomes too difficult. Cancer, on the other hand, it's like they switch from being a water sign to an air sign. Boom. You know, I'm the critical thinker. Right? I'm not gonna let my emotions cause me to overthink everything. Like, I can see what's going on at a logical standpoint rather than emotional. But when you negate that, you negate your true nature. So if you have an opportunity to follow your passions here and what you're craving, you need to be truthful with yourself about what you're going after, and definitely aim higher, aim higher. Transition. It's a shift in your life, like a major shift, right? Like, I almost feel like, again, there's like this shift from being emotional to being logical. And then live from your heart. Absolutely, absolutely. What is the point of going after things if they're not what your heart desires? You know, living from your heart. I love it. I love it. But with transition, you know, again, I feel like there's going to be a major shift in your life where you go from being emotional to logical. And I worry just with the moon sitting there. You know, you're definitely creating something new for yourself here. But, you know, truth, again, you need to be truthful with yourself about what it is that you're actually wanting, you know, because I still feel like, you know, there's like this lack of emotion, you know. This is living from your heart is love and compassion, right? Having that heart-centered experience rather than, you know, completely logical. But overall, I feel like this is a beautiful reading. I really feel like whatever it is that you're craving in your life, you're being smart about it for sure. There's a feeling of success. You have super strength. You definitely are tapping into some self-worth and some self-love, but I would be careful with the moon and the Two of Pentacles just because, you know, you don't want to get to a point where you're just like, screw it all and drop everything. You know, again, the moon is saying that, you know, you need to tap into your intuitive nature because, again, like all other water signs, you are emotionally intuitive as well as logical.